Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everyone. My name's Jago Pearson. I'm the Communications Director at Finnebrogue Artisan, and we are a food producer with a farming pedigree, once being the largest farmer of deer in the UK. But lots has changed for us in 10 years. We started the last decade a small family-owned business, turning over about £3 million a year, processing venison for Michelin-star restaurants, celebrity chefs, and Marks and Spencer. We ended the last decade still a family-owned business, still with artisanal values at our core, but turning over more than £100 million and employing more than 500 people in County Down, Northern Ireland. Those 10 years have seen us establish ourselves as, we hope, the leading top-tier sausage maker in the country. And we've done it by putting innovation at the heart of everything we do, while also making sure the consumer is always king. And it's that innovation I want to speak briefly to you today, because I think it's essential for all of our futures. We come together this week at a critical moment. Consumers are more engaged and in tune with the food they eat, the way we produce it, the way we farm, than probably at any point in human history. We're seeing hundreds of thousands of consumers define themselves as meat reducers. We're seeing millions more conscious of the positive and negative impact that food production can have on our planet. And we're seeing them, these consumers I mean, become more aware of the nutritional benefits or deficiencies of the food that we produce. And when it comes to meat, well, the message is pretty clear. We meat producers and processors are in the dock. The public are demanding high quality. And these trends could pose a very real threat to sections of our industry if we choose to sit on our hands or rest on our laurels. But they also provide a fabulous opportunity to those, and I know there are many in this room this morning, who want to innovate, those who want to figure out what's wrong with food today and fix it, and those who want to make it the best it can possibly be without being bound by the practices of the past. And let's take bacon as an example. The process of adding nitrites to pork to create bacon, but also ham and other continental meats, for no reason other than up to a few years ago, there being no other way to keep these products pink, the colour that consumers have grown accustomed to, is for me the most obvious example of where our industry must do better. Bacon's a £1 billion business in the UK, but it's been on the receiving end of a barrage of negative press in recent times. In 2019, the value of our bacon industry in this country fell by £50 million, £1 million a week in reduced revenues. And that's not just a threat to processed meat manufacturers, but it's also a threat to pig farmers up and down these aisles. Pig farmers who won't be able to rely on surging international demand for pork forever. And since the World Health Organization published its landmark study in 2015, which for the first time linked nitrite-cured processed meats to colorectal cancer, consumers have woken up to the health risks posed by these chemicals. And awareness has been particularly turbocharged in the last 12 or 18 months. Studies from the World Cancer Research Fund have reiterated the WHO warnings. 34,000 cases of bowel cancer, they say, every year are said to be directly attributable to processed meat consumption worldwide. Glasgow University, they've linked nitrite-cured processed meats to breast cancer. Johns Hopkins in the US, they've linked them to manic episodes and mental health problems. An internal meat industry report embarrassingly admitted that botulism is not prevented or even controlled by nitrites, the main reason given by meat producers as to why their use is required. And there's been a call to arms from a cross-party coalition of MPs and leading experts, including Professor Chris Elliott, who ran the government's investigation into the horse meat scandal. There have been demands from all political persuasions and none, from the worlds of science, from medicine and the public at large, to not just reduce the levels at which these chemicals are used, or remove them just from school and hospital menus, but to rid them from all processed meats across the board. Because the overwhelming body of evidence is clear. Nitrites are everywhere. They're in many vegetables, and they're perfectly harmless. But when they are added to meat, and that meat is cooked and then ingested, they produce carcinogenic nitrosamines in the stomach. Now, 100 years ago, we'd banned this practice. Now we seem to think it perfectly normal to add a toxin to our food. At Finnebrogue, despite making millions of sausages every year for Marks & Spencer and Asda and others, we refused to make a single rasher of bacon until we could find out a way to do it without these nitrites. And after a long and pretty torturous search for a solution, we launched Naked Bacon 2 years ago, the first mass-produced rashers in the UK to be nitrite-free. Instead of nitrites, we use a blend of Mediterranean fruit extracts, which keep the meat pink and produce a tasty bacon that so many of us love, but without the risks posed by nitrites. 2 years on, we're analysing £25 million in retail sales, and we think we've established Naked as one of, if not the biggest brand of bacon in Britain. And our message is now to our industry colleagues, because we'd love them to embrace the nitrite revolution as well. You don't need these chemicals anymore. You can produce tasty, pink, preserved rashers in a safer way. And it doesn't require a tax or a ban or any nanny state intervention from Her Majesty's government. It just requires all of us to recognise that we can do better, that technology is now available for us to do it, and most importantly, that the general population demand that we do. Because consumers will reward innovation. They will choose healthier products, they will choose more sustainable products, and they want us food producers and farmers to provide them. So whether it's removing nitrites from processed meats to slash the cancer risk, or embracing more sustainable methods of rearing livestock, and of course scrutinising the plant-based revolution to ensure that false claims on nutrition and sustainability are exposed to the public, we cannot just be an industry that bemoans the consumer trends within which we operate. We've got to embrace them, we've got to shape them, and we've got to make the most nutritious, sustainable food that we can possibly do. And if we do, the future of our industry and of UK food and farming will be bright. If we don't, I fear the future for the UK processed meat industry and the farmers who rely upon it will be a rocky one. Thanks very much.